If you are constantly the one holding everything together for everyone else, I see you. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to unpack the profound, deeply emotional truths found in Dee's transformative work, Nobody Told Us. We're focusing specifically on a chapter that honestly hits incredibly close to home for so many of us, the invisible burdens carried by women. We are going to step into this healing journey together, so let's just dive right in.
I want to bypass the typical academic summaries today and start right here, directly in your chest. I want you to just take a breath for a second and ask yourself, are you the one who's always holding it all together? Take a moment to really feel that. Because for an audience of women who have spent literally their entire lives being the foundation that everyone else builds upon, this is exactly where our conversation has to start.
You know, underneath all that strength, there's this deep, completely silent exhaustion. It comes from being the constant giver, the peacekeeper, the emotional caretaker who just never stops to take a breath for herself. It is the absolute exhaustion of pouring from a cup that has been empty for years. And it's not just being tired, right? It's a structural depletion that so many of us carry around every single day without ever really knowing why.
Which brings us to part 1, the strong one's exhaustion. Dee notes that this relentless giving isn't just a metaphor. It is an intense, ingrained reality. Girls in these communities are taught incredibly early that their worth, their absolute value, lives entirely in what they can give, what they can endure, and what they can carry without complaint. It's a heavy expectation established long before they even have the vocabulary to understand what's happening.
Moving on to part 2, an invisible inheritance.
This is really the core revelation of the text. Using epigenetics, trauma science, and just raw, honest testimony, the book argues that the anxiety, the numbness, the exhaustion you feel, they aren't personality flaws. They are inherited survival adaptations. These patterns travel invisibly right through our bloodlines. They were passed down by well-meaning mothers and grandmothers who deeply loved their daughters, but who taught them silent endurance because they thought they were preparing them for the world as it actually was. It wasn't done by villains, you know? It was done by survivors just trying to keep you safe.
But here is the recurring heartbeat of this entire text. Nobody told us. Nobody told us that we were absorbing a legacy of invisible emotional labor. Nobody told us that we were compressing our own needs, folding them up so incredibly small that they became completely invisible even to ourselves. We just kind of thought this was who we were supposed to be.
So part 3, the hidden cost. What did this survival adaptation actually cost the child who used to sit in the corner of a loud room, pretending to be asleep, quietly absorbing everything? The book traces several intertwined, really devastating wounds. It talks about being sexualized before even understanding your own body, teaching girls their worth is measured by perception rather than self, but crucially, it highlights the invisible emotional labor for entire households, tracking everyone's moods, smoothing out every conflict, being the one everyone leans on while processing your own pain completely alone at night. It creates an intense loneliness. It's that lonely ache of being constantly needed by everyone, but rarely truly seen by anyone.
And we learn that when this profound, unaddressed pain is ignored, it doesn't just magically disappear. Suppressing feeling doesn't erase it. Instead, that suppressed grief goes underground. It burrows deep into our biology and our spirit, and it resurfaces later. It comes back as severe anxiety, physical illness, and the cyclical repetition of those exact same generational patterns.
Which leads us into part 4, naming the cycle. True healing starts with naming what was never named for us. Because again, nobody told us. Nobody told us that our inherent sensitivity and our softness weren't liabilities. They weren't things the world should exploit. Softness is actually one of the rarest, most precious gifts left in a hard world, and it absolutely needs to be protected, not consumed.
When we actively compare the lies we absorb to the actual truth, a massive shift happens. We were taught that boundaries equaled selfishness, that rest meant we were lazy, and that needing anything at all made us a liability. But the truth? Needing something back is not selfish. Boundaries are entirely necessary, and rest is not laziness. It is an absolute fundamental right. You are allowed to rest.
And finally, part 5, radical permission.
Please, if you take nothing else away from our time together today, remember this one thing. Your bloodline does not have to be your biography. Your history is not your fate. It's simply unfinished business that you are now fully equipped to finish. You have the power to reparent yourself, to protect that inner child who is always watching, and to decisively end this generational inheritance right here and right now. You can be the first person in your line who actually gets to choose.
I want you to hear these words from D and just let them wash over you. You are not here to be consumed. You are here to be celebrated. You deserve to be seen. You always have. Your needs, your dreams, and your own private sovereign joy are not indulgences that you have to earn it by doing emotional labor for everyone else. They are your fundamental, unalienable right as a human being. The cycle ends the very moment you decide it does. It ends with permission to rest, to need, and to finally be fully known. Which leaves us with one beautiful, empowering, forward-looking question, not just for you, but for the generations watching you right now. What will you choose to build now that you are finally free to rest, to need, and to be truly seen?